everyone, welcome back to Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel once again today. So today's tutorial will be a project sewing, okay, sewing along with Right Fashion Academy. So we will be sewing a bust corset with bonings, as you can see right there on the screen. So this project will be taking it little by little on this channel every day. So if you are new to this channel, I will advise you kindly subscribe, talk in the comment section. So like I said, this is a sew along with Right Fashion Academy corset tutorial. So I'm starting everything right from the beginning. So you can see right here I have my plain pattern paper and I have my measurements. So today we'll be drafting a basic bodice pattern front and back. Then in the next tutorial we'll be drafting a corset. So for this particular project, so along, as you can see on the screen right there, the first thing I would love to do is to create my border lines. I love to create my border lines before I start up my draftings. So you can see me creating my border lines at 1 inch. So I'm creating my border lines at 1 inch. So the border line is my starting line. As you can see, it's a starting line. And then I'll also come over to the edge of my paper. I'm going to also make my markings at 1 inch. So what I'm trying to do here is creating my border line. So here I call this line my center front. So I'll be drafting the front bodies before I jump into the back bodies. So right here on my pattern, my measurement parameter, I'll be imputing the vertical measurements first. So the vertical measurements I have right here, I have my bust points as 10 inches. So this is my shoulder line right now. So from the shoulder line, I'll be placing my tape and I'll measure 10 inches. Okay. Then I will be measuring my under bust for this project at 13 inches. And I'll be measuring the waistline at 17 inches. Okay, so you can see I made dotted lines. So I'm going to rule my line across. I'll also rule my line and rule my line across. So what I created here is just my lines, okay, my bust point line, my under bust point line, and the front length. Okay, so this is the front length. So now I have a skeleton of what the front looks like. So the next thing I want to impute is my chest line. The chest line is not measured on the body, but the chest line can be calculated using your bust circumference. So right here, I'm working with a bust of 35. I'm going to divide it by 6, and I'll add 1.5 to it. That is the standard. Plus 1.5, I have 7.3. Okay, so I'll be making use of 7.25. So but before I go over this, I'll be making use of my natural neckline of 3 by 3, which is standard, or you can still use your bust circumference divided by 12. So I'm using 3 by 3 for this project on the neckline. So then I'm going to impute my shoulder measurement of 15.5. Okay, so this is my tape at 15.5. I'm going to I'm going to get the midpoint. So you can see where I have my midpoint. I have my midpoint at 7.75. Okay. Then at this 7.75, I'll drop my shoulder by 1 inch. And once that is done, I'm going to rule my line from the tip of the neckline to that point. So I'll also transfer 15.5 divided by 2, which is my shoulder. Okay, before I do that, the chest line is 7.3. Okay, so I'm taking 7.25. So you can see where I kept my tape measure to measure 7.25. Okay, so 1 plus 7.25 will give me 8.25. So to get a straight line, I'll place it back right here and mark 8.25. So now I'm going to rule my line. So make sure your line is straight. So I'm trying to make sure my line is straight. Okay, my line needs to be straight. Okay, this is 8.25 and this is 8.25. Okay, so now I've confirmed a straight line, and then I'm going to rule my line across. So the next is to transfer the shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7.75. I'm transferring it on the chest line, 7.75, and make my mark. And then I'm going to draw a straight line at that point, as you can see. So next is to find the midpoint of the armhole, the 7.25. I'm going to find the midpoint. You can see me finding the midpoint. So this is the midpoint. Okay, so at this midpoint, I'm going to go in because the human shoulder is not straight, at 0.75. that is 3/4. From this line I go in by 3/4, and I'm going to rule. You can see I've already ruled my line at that point. So the next is to impute what I have on my bust. My bust circumference I'm working with here is 35. So 35, I'm going to divide it by 2 first. Okay, so I will divide 35 by 2. This is 35 divided by 2. I have 17.5. I will divide 17.5 again by 2. So I'll be able to get 1/4 of 35. So 1/4 of 35 is 8.75. So I'll be placing 8.75 on my bust line. That's on the chest line. This is the chest line. So I'll place my tape at the center front, and I'm going to make a mark at that point. Can you see? That is the point of my armhole. So now I will place my pattern ruler. Okay, of course I've taught in this channel how to place your pattern ruler very well. So your pattern ruler has to align on this line, and anywhere, even if it's above the line, it does not matter. But your pattern ruler has to be seated. You can see this line is seated. That is how to properly place your pattern ruler. The line here has to be perpendicular with what you have right here. Okay, all right, so that is that for the armhole. So now I'll be imputing my waist measurement. My round waist measurement is 28. 28 divided by 2. I will get 28 divided by 2. This is 28. I'm dividing by 2. Okay, so once I divide by 2, this is what I got, 14, and I'll divide 14 by 2 again. I got 7. So my waist on my front length, I'm going to impute 7 inches. Okay, so I place my tape. You can see I'm placing my tape starting from the center front, and I'll place 7 inches. Okay, so what we are creating right here is a is the measurement of we are making a basic bodice for the corset. All right, so now I've added this. That is, I've taken my waist divided by 4. I have 7. So we are going to determine how many inches that we are going to make use of. I've taken my waist divided by 4. 7 plus 1 inch, that is 8 inches. So now I'm going to mark out my bodice. Okay, so this is the bodice center, bodice front, which I'm working with right now. So next we'll be coming to the bust point to determine the bust the bust span. The bust span here is 6.5. So this is 6.5 on my tape. So I'm going to divide it by 2. This is what I get. So I'll come over to the center front line and I will mark my bust span. I'll come over to the waistline. I'll mark my bust span. So now I'm going to rule a straight line to that point, and then I'm going to share the 1 inch that I added, half an inch, half an inch. So I'm sharing half an inch, half an inch, and I'm ruling this line straight to the bust point because we are going to alter this pattern. So now on my measurement parameter, I have my half back length. The back length I'm working with is 15 inches. So, and the front length I'm working with is, front length is 17 inches. Okay, so since my front length is, the bust that is 2 inches difference. So from here I mark 2 inches and half of it is 1 inch. So if you have been following this channel, you will know we do this all the time. So I connect my bust dart to this point and I connect back to this point. I come out by 3/4. Okay, to close up my bust dart, I come out by 3/4, and then I will connect back to the waist. So this is how the front length pattern looks like for this corset. Okay, so I will be drafting the back corset right now. So the chest line is the same for back and front. I'll make an extension of it. So now I'm going to create my border line of 1 inch. My border line of 1 inch, 1 inch for the back length. Okay, so here I'm going to create my line. All right, so now I've created my center back line. So I'm going to take the measurement. This is the shoulder for the back, and I'm taking my measurements right away from this point. You can see the measurement of my chest line, and then the back length is 15. So this is 15. I'm going to rule my line on the back length. So you can see the back length is actually shorter because of the bust. So now I'm using 3 inches on my neck, and for the depth I'm using 1 inch. Remember, we are making basic bodies right here. So now I'm going to connect what I have right here to the neckline. So the shoulder, I'm going to impute my shoulder measurement of 7/3/4, and I'll repeat the same 7/3/4 on the chest line. I will come down for the back neck by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line, and then I'll draw close up the line. Okay, so I'm making sure I have this accurate 7/3/4, 7/3/4, 7/3/4. So that is the line. So I'm going to draw a straight line meeting this one. Then on the back armhole, I'm going to get the midpoint of 7 7 and a quarter, that is 7.25. This is the midpoint, and I'll go armhole. So I go in by 0.5. This is standard and it works for everybody. So I'll connect back to this line. So I'm going to also take the bust circumference. Remember, the bust divided by 4, we got on this line, it's 3/4. So I'm going to repeat a 3/4 on this line for the bust for the back, and then I'll be connecting my armhole. Can you see how I connected it? So this is how you connect it. You make sure this matches up and terminates anywhere on the armhole. So coming over to the waistline I'm working with is 28 divided by 4 is 7. This is 7. I'll be adding 1 inch for that at this point. This is 1 inch for that, and then I'll close up the bodice pattern. All right, so coming over to the back dart, I love to use the dart of my waist divided by 4, which is 7, and I'll divide it again by 2. So here I'm making use of 3.5. That is my waist difference. So I'll put my 3.5, and from the chest line at the back I'll come down by 1 inch and then draw my dart leg. So I'm going to share this particular dart of 0.5 we added, and I'll connect my dart all the way to this point, all the way to that point. Okay, so you can see that. And then we are done with the basic bodice for this corset. So I'll be contouring the basic bodice back by 0.5 because the human body is not as straight as this. So I'm contouring it by 0.5, and then, or let me do 0.75. Okay, I really need it to be well contoured. So if you need it well contoured, you go in by 0.75 at that point, and you can see how I'm aligning these to meet up with what I have on the neckline. So all of this I'm going to do what? Cut out in the course of our alterations. So that is the center back where we'll be having the zipper for the corset. So now I'm going to take what I have from here to here and replace it here. I have 0.25. I'm replacing 0.25 here, and here I took away 0.75. I'm going to replace the 0.75 here. So I don't have anything missing at all. So my replacement is, so once we cut off, everything balances off. Okay, all right people, so this is what we have on the basic bodice pattern. This is the back and this is the front. Okay, so in the next tutorial we'll be altering this beautiful pattern to an off-shoulder corset bust pattern. So if you want to follow this tutorial till the end, it's a project sew along. So if you want to follow us on this tutorial to see the final outcome of this particular corset, please stay tuned. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next project.